Hello again, everybody. It's Terry Box, the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday, the 6th of May. This is the weekend webinar. Well, an important week, it looks like, particularly the end of the week. We came down hard, tested support. You can see on the S&P, right at that VWAP. I'm sorry, right at the 50-period moving average, around 40.40. The bounce on Friday was a real sharp one, up 75 points, or almost 1.9%. You can see key resistance across here. This is the number, the objective to take out next week. It's 41.87. You do that, your target's 43, 15, 20 in that zone where this triple resistance appears to be. And your target beyond that would be 4,500. On the support side, double bottom around 40, 50. 40, interesting that the last two lows were 40, 49 and 40, 48. So that, and with the 50-period moving average there, that's key support. In addition, it appears to be trend bottom there with a 1-2. So wave 3 should get us up there. That's the S&P. Let's look at the NDX. Very, very nice, even stronger in that triple bottom base breakout and a 3-wave corrective pullback flag. It's a 1-2. This is 3 and 4. Fifth wave might take us to 14.3. Targets are 13.7 and 14.3 if we get a rally, which I think we might. What we don't have is confirmation from the transportation or small cap index IWM. That's the ETF. On the Dow Jones 20 transportation index, you can see the big spike up we had in February. Got us to 15,888. And then we came down and double bottomed about 400 points below that at 13,488. We've had of late a little bounce, a little consolidation in this zone with, we call that a V bottom and a right-handed extension anyway. I'd like to see support right about there. Hold. That would be next week's support in the transportation is 13,760. We can get up to the 14,240 area where the moving average is and price resistance. We have a shot at taking out the declining top sign and testing the April high at 14,578. Once we get through that, then you have a substantial move potentially underway to 15.2. The IWM still has work to do. Declining top sign, declining 50, lateral price resistance. So somewhere in the 177 to 180 zone, we got to take that out. That's where it really gets moving. Targets 189, 195, and 200 area, the 200 area, 199. So that's where we're at, and you can see that these are trailing the IWM and transportation trail, while the NDX leads S&P trying to come along for the ride. Now look at the underlying technical indicators, and we're going to take a look at the McClellan oscillator, which is basically at the lowest level in 5 weeks after reaching minus 124 Friday. Quite interesting, meaning that the underlying technicals aren't strong in terms of advanced declines and up-down volume. And this has been in the down channel or downtrend since it peaked at end of March. And that's what it looks like. The support appears to be around minus 155 to 250. So we'll just have to see what gives next week. What about the VIX? You can see the VIX popped and then pulled right back big time on Friday. With the rally on Friday, this dropped 14.4% or 290 to 1719. So I'm not worried about the VIX at this point, but I'm also not worried about the, the apathy level that it reaches when it gets down in the, anywhere between 8 or 9 to to 12, and that's on there. This is what I'm talking about. Once VIX gets down there, you have a lot of apathy. Right now, it's neutral. And the percentage of stocks above their 40 has had a dramatic increase with a move from about 12, 13 all the way up into the 50% range, and now it's consolidating around 46. So less than half the stocks are above their 40, and it's definitely a stock picker's market. But we're not overbought heavily or oversold yet either. Kind of neutral, as is the VIX in my opinion. Let's take a look at some of the major ETFs in play. The SMH, which has had multiple waves up, and had a rough time of it for a few days, but you can see that what I'm seeing here is that kind of a channel up. And there's your other channel. Take a look at where this can go if it gets above 130. 131.5 actually is resistance right there. Then your target's 145. That's a big move. And if that's what, and if the market's going to go higher, it's going to probably get some leadership from the SMH. We do not want to roll over below 118.5. That's a recent pullback low. So watch for that. Financials, well, with bank problems, obviously not doing as well. But we did get a nice snapback on Friday. We may be making a V bottom of the right hand extension higher high. But as of this point, I'm going to call that the pattern that's developing, and we'll see where if we can get through it. Key resistance 64 in that area. Biotechs, well, they had a good week, and the XBI, and take a look at that move, broke through price and moving average resistance, closing right on the major declining top side goes way back. This is important. Now, as you know, back in December, I picked a bunch of biotech stocks for having a big year. Well, we're about a third of the way through it. And we're starting to rally back very nicely from here after a real bad February, March. So my next target, 90, 92, and 96. Stay tuned. Sister, that lower price leveraged LABU looks also pretty well. As you can see, this broke out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with 3 nice days in a row, and it's at resistance. Watch this one going forward on Monday over 687. I'm looking for 7 3/4, 8.5, and 9 1/4. Now, some of the cojones, the big boys, the NASDAQ 100 leaders, look at the breakout on Apple. Now, that is significant in my opinion. It's the market leader and the biggest percent gainer, the biggest percentage ownership in the NASDAQ 100 and a big major factor in the S&P 500. With Apple going from a January low of 124 to Friday's high of 174, 50 points up in the last 4 months. It's a significant move, and I think that this might get tested as early next week. If we get a breakout, we're looking for 176.7 or more on Apple. Then, 180. Amazon, well, if you look at the angle, it's changed a little bit, but it's more parallel. I think we must hold, in my opinion, last week's low. That's 101. Underneath that, that's where my stop is. My target is a retest of 111 and then 114.15. Google looking much better. I love this chart. Take a look. Triple bottom, pop to resistance, cross here, multiple tops. If Google should get up through 109.5 3/4, you're probably going to 112.13, 117.18, et cetera, et cetera. There's a platform here. We do not want Google under 103.5 3/4. Okay. Microsoft. Love this chart, and it's broken out of a 5-day flag on Friday, jumping another 524. That is the highest level on Microsoft since way back here in April of last year. So 52-week high. If you get above 316, which is your target for next week, we could see a substantial move. NVIDIA has been a powerhouse for a year, and right now it's poised to pop and explode. If it gets through that level, it could be 315, 325, 30. Etc. Key support 258.60. Meta, well, we had a tough week. It's being investigated by the, I think it was the FTC, I forget which one, but bottom line is you had a breakout and a pullback into the base. There's some resistance up there and certainly support down here. So we'll see if that rights itself or not. Meta, a bit of a trailer. And so is, quite frankly, not Netflix, although it was up a few days in a row last week. But Netflix key resistance is going to be 330 and then 345, 48.50. It is a large wedge and it could break out and run. And the key is going to be getting above 350. That's where it really runs. And it's a stop under 315.60. Finally, Tesla still forming, even though it had a nice pop on Friday, of 879. It's at the gap and at resistance. If it gets up through that and fills the gap, you might very well see 170 7 or so. It's my next target. Another 7 points. Beyond that, 182.5 and so on and so forth. Here is your declining tops line. Appears to have been taken out on Friday. Stay tuned. So these are looking a lot better, and so is the market. Major ETFs we follow besides the SMH, FAS, and XBI, etc., are oil. USO pop right back to resistance. I'm not so sure it's a major bottom, but we had 2 days in a row here and 2 days in a row here. This is another 2 days in a row. It's at resistance to fill the gap. Next target would be 65.5, 66 zone. We'll see what happens if it's able to get there. If it fails, there is a declining top sign here. Then if it fails in that area and rolls over, we can see it down at 58 rate. Wouldn't shock me. USO. Gold, GDX. Nice pop on Thursday, right to the double top and a pullback. So this is going to have to show me some more energy, but I'm still skeptical. Although I think patterns are fantastic since last September, with the GDX going from 21.75 to 36. I'm still not convinced, although I like to see a bigger consolidation or pullback on the gold and silver group. Speaking of silver, let's just finish up with gold. Nugget, very nice, up to 51 and change, and a pullback. And an all sector, we forgot Gush. I wanted to show you that. Again, just a rally back to resistance, nothing more. Not excited, not yet. Silver ETF AGQ, even better than some of the golds, but also a double top here. And then a pullback on Friday. It's going to be interesting to see what they do next week. Let's put it that way. And gas, well, the coal is ridiculous as natural gas just gets pummeled. This has gone from a November low of 10 to 87, 88, 89.45 on Friday. That's the highest level reached since way back here in March of last year. So a 52-week high in that gas bear ETF, the KOLD. Look at Boyle down in the twos. This is going to have to be reverse split. This has dropped from 155 or so down to $2.70. Pretty amazing destruction. That's all I want to say about that. This looked like a bottom. This could have been one. It wasn't. There was a bear flag. It's a big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. And it may not even be complete. We'll see. Well, let's go on. We got a lot of stocks to talk about, long and short, mostly long. We'll start off alphabetically with ACVA. Look at this chart. Beautiful base, breakout, wedge, pop, flag, and a spike up and breakout, and now coming on again on Friday. My target is 16.5. AEA chart trying to bounce back, but it looks negative to me. Unless I see an explosive move above 30.5, 31, I'm going to be careful on this one. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it might be a breakout. It might not be. If this is a new downtrend, you can see that this is wave potentially a wave 4 bear flag. I want everybody being careful on this one. I know how much we liked it at one point, but it certainly broke down right there and never looked back with a bear wedge and a bear flag. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave target, 21. ALDX, fantastic rising channel. From 5 and change to almost 11. It's now got multiple tops in here with the next target at 12.5, 13.25 range if it does break out. ALLO, this biotech has come through a big down channel. And at one time traded in the 50s and it got down to 4. But this declining top sign in a large 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline is broken back out again. Your targets are resistance at 7.25 and then 8.5. AM. How about a 1, 2 falling wedge, 3, 4 rising coil? Looking awfully good here. High teens, low to mid 20s are your targets. AMD looks like a reverse Thursday. It had a nice positive inside day Friday. Watch AMD next week over 91.5, 3/4. That's where I think it really goes. 99, 103, 110, 11. APLS swing, we put it out there. It worked out. It pulled back, exploded again. Friday was a big day for it as it reached all the way up to almost 95. From where we first gave it to, I think it was 78. Working well, and the next target is 102. ARCT, long base, breakout, and a bull flag. What else do you need? I like this for a move to 31 and 36. ARDX, awesome long-term channel from June, low in the 50-cent range, a 10-fold increase to nearly 513. So exactly 10-fold, and now flagging, not done yet. Well, easy stop if it gets under 420, but anything over 510, we can see the stock at 6 or better. Barlow, beautiful base break on a wedge. We showed you that a month ago. From that point there at 530, it reached 681 for $1.50 and still rising with a next target of 7.5 and 8. ARWR, big comeback after breakaway gap and running gap and measuring gap and running gap. This is a little longer than the two short term as it's gone from 23 to 42. Nevertheless, at resistance and looking like the next step up, if it continues, would be 48. Atamera, excellent swing, popped out above the moving averages on big volume. I put a swing on it. I think it was 695 or something, and it went up to Thursday's high, 1072. 4-point runoff from a $6 stock is about 80%. Fantastic. And so far, even with the Friday pullback, it's held. Looking for 12 and 15 going forward. My favorite gold stock is AU, and I've been saying that for months now. It's run from 12 almost 30, a little long in the tooth, but really strong and bullish chart. Like to see a pullback on it. AUPH, breakaway gap, strong run up, consolidate, breakout, pullback, rising channel. This is a tech-traded swing and it continues to look good. And I'm hearing takeover somewhere in the high teens, low 20s. ABDL, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming off that low in last May, about $1. So I went from 1 to 7 and took weeks and months to consolidate. Now it's running again. Big week last week. From under 10 to 1578. Momentum target is 18.5. So AXSM was a swing, I think back a few months ago in the high 30s. It eventually made it up to over 80 and then pulled back. But right now, it broke out of the declining top line through the moving averages, which crossed over and now it's flagging. If this takes out 77, 76.5, my target's 89 and 105. Looking at low price BCLI, this is a $3 stock. Base breakout coil. If the coil pops, looking for 4.5. BitTo, in the Bitcoin realm, a lot of stocks have done very well in the crypto world. This one's gone from under 10 to 18 range, 1836, and now consolidated a coil. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave targets 20.5, 22.5. BLBD, Bluebird, nice inverse head and shoulders breakout retest. It's a breakaway gap and a nice 2-month-long falling channel. Watch for a pop above 19.75, 20. Your targets are 23 and 25. BLPH popped and came down in a falling wedge that exploded from the rising flag, extended near the channel top, and then pulled back, holding around at 50. My target is 18, double from here. BMEA, another biotech coming out of a beautiful explosive move right there, and then a pullback. First, a falling wedge, and then it morphed into a lateral kind of a coil. We break out of this, we can see 45.50 or a takeover. Kaba, big move off the low, literally from 60 cents to almost $13. Let's call that a 20-fold increase. So it needed some time to digest all of that, which it got, and then it broke back out again. Wednesday, I made a nominal high that backed off, but it looks to me like it was headed for 16, folks. CBay, base breakout, rising channel, and looking higher, targeting 13. Swing trade CGNT popped out, put a swing on it, formed a beautiful flag. If it breaks 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5, continue to be targets. CLSK, another crypto-related stock, broke out, falling wedge, 3-wave corrected back to support, and a nice bounce last week. Watch this one above 4.5, 5 1/4, 6 3/4 would be near-term targets. Vita Coco, V bottom at last November, all the way down around 7.5, and then it's tripled to 24.16 at the high, setting up for more upside, 27.30. Cody's been in a beautiful rising channel since last October when it was 6. It's subsequently more than doubled, getting up to 12.64. It's pulled back at a really ugly tail, but boy, did that come off support. And now right back up again. So I'm going to pull that back here and take this one and pull it back like that. Not sure if that's the angle, but my target's 13.5. CRBP exploded, pulled back, and now it's in a rising channel, and it's sharp. Look at Friday's action, jumping $1.27 or 14.5%. It's a thinly traded stock, but if it gets to 13, it could be 17, 18. CRSP popped out. We put a swing. It had a beautiful falling wedge on low volume. It exploded Thursday, Friday, holding the price and 50-day moving average support. Resistance here at 59, at target 64. CUE, beautiful long-term base, going back almost a year. Breakout, and steady run up. Now, looking for 6.5 target. Carvana, big explosive move on Friday, and got right to resistance and backed off. Not only lateral price, but declining tops line. Let's just say this. With 87 million traded, it didn't close well. But let's see what it does next week. If it backs and fills for a couple of days, it may then move up to 13 and 17. DraftKings swing trade doing great. Popped here, pulled back, broke out, put a swing on it. It's been stair stepping higher. I reached my target at 25 Friday. 25.34 was tagged. Next target is 28 and 30. DRS, V bottom, spike up flag. Looks like it wants to run. 17 and 18, 19 targets. DYN, well, V bottom, a right hand extension and a break through the neckline of moving averages, and then it's exploding again, up 194, 16% Friday. We have resistance at 15.80, and that's your short-term target. We get through that, 20 and 23. EDIT swing trade popped out. We put a swing and formed a flag and exploded Friday, going from 820 to 1052. It did pull back to 976, still up $1.04. 12% gain. Volume picked up to the best we've seen in 3 or 4 weeks. Now looking for a run up into the 12 zone, followed by 14. Junior gold stock, Eldorado Gold, base breakout and run up like many junior gold doing very well here. 5 to 12, resistance just above at 12.5. ELEV breaks out of the base with a breakaway gap and forms a 6-week long wedge and then explodes out of it. Now it continues to run. 4.5 and 6 3/4 targets. ETNB, this junior biotech's been a beautiful rising channel for a year. And now with this kind of what looks like a bull coil developing, a move across this double top probably gets you to 22. Targeting 19 and 22. GANX popped on Friday and broke out. I'm looking for 6 3/4. GBTC, another crypto stock with a 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave may be underway. If it takes out 18 1/4, 21 is your target, and then 23.4. GRTX, nice base and breaking out. There's a pattern forming, a wedge. You get through that, 3 3/4 and 4.5 are your targets. Beautiful base breakout of flag. I showed you that a couple weeks ago, but look at the hold 10 and spike up to 13. 13.50 was tagged Friday. Your next target is 15 and 18. Nice pattern. May put a swing on that one. HIMS, fantastic rising channel. Breakaway gap across the moving averages. Run up to resistance and pull back to held at 50 again. Flag, pop, retest again and again. Notice how it's been holding the trend line at 50-day. We're right at resistance here. We get through it. 15 is your target. HMNY, another junior gold. Beautiful chart, but overbought at resistance. Top of the channel as well. HROW, one of my top 20 picks for the year. Since my December pick has gone from 11 to 27, and it looks even higher. Fantastic day. Friday up 187. Looking like 29.5, 30, and 33.4 targets. IAS, Integral AS Science. Beautiful rising channel continues to be in play. It just broke out Friday, but it backed off the channel top. Nevertheless, I'll be looking for a move up towards 20, your next target. IBRX wanted to show you the big recovery after a nasty drop from 121 to $6, more than 300% in the last 6 weeks. There's overhead resistance up here, but Momo may take it to 7.5. IFRX exploded in 2 days back in early April and pulled back down. Then a slow, steady rise, but without any volume, it pulled back here. Last week wasn't good. It was down the last 4 days in a row. Do not let this go into 4. Targets are 5.5, 6, and 7. Breakout on IKN last week, and now looking like this wants to go higher. My next target is 8.5 and 10. And Unigen, a new swing after it popped and pulled back, but boy, is it powerful looking. Look, it's at lateral resistance, but multiple year highs. Matter of fact, the highest level since 8 years ago. At that point, it reached 20, which would be my near-term targets, 17 and 20. IMTX, inverse head and shoulder, an explosive breakout to resistance, now flagging, looks higher. 11.75 and 13.5 are targets. IMBT, one of my top picks of the year, after a couple months of consolidation and pullback, broken out again. On Friday, it tagged the old high from January, which was 2024, reaching 2025. Closed at 1921, has it off the highs, but my targets 24 and 29. Intel, big base breakout, retest at 50, pop and form a wedge. I need that to get over 32.5 to get it going. The targets are then 34, 37, etc. INTT, beautiful rising channel for months now, since October low of 7 to 23, more than triple. The pullback is a little disconcerting, so stops have to be put under 17.75. Your targets are 22.75 and 27 if it goes. We talked about LAB already. Look at the move on LASR Friday. Thinly traded LASR traded 1 million shares, but popped 372 or 40%. Followed through to 13.75. May be likely. There's a lot of resistance there. Mara, another crypto stock, looking like a 1, 2, 3, 4 to me, and fifth wave may be underway. 12.75 and 15 are targets. Merck, nothing but good news from this company. Beautiful long-term rising channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave says we go to 130. NBTX went bonkers Friday. Traded 45 million shares and went from under 2 to nearly 9 in 1 day, finishing back at 628. Still, keep an eye on this one for momentum play to $10. NARV exploded last week, had an inside day, a couple days in a row, and then popped on Friday. Looking like it's going to test 8.75, 12, and maybe 14. This has a powerful look to it. NLST, strong rising channel since December when it traded at 87 cents. 2 weeks ago it was 610. 7-fold increase. It's now wedging. Your target is 6.5 and 8. And an OX swing really worked well. It popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It just exploded. And last week went from a prior close of 611 to a finish at 14. How about that for 150% for the week? It is up against resistance and had a reversal day Friday, perhaps. It needs to back and fill, but my eventual target is 1920. OCUP. Stair stepped its way up and formed a coil. That coil broke out, and there we go. Channel topped and resistance up there. Then a pullback, but held support. It's coming on again. This can be $7 or $8. ONON broke out. We put a swing on it, and then pop, pull back, and now it's in a rising channel. 37 and 40 are targets. OPRA and a beautiful rising channel after popping and wedging, breaking out, and flagging. You can see the stair step is way higher. From 4 to 12, a triple. Now looking for 13.5. Oscar exploded from 2 to 6, pulled back to 3 and change, and then ran up to 7. Resistance is at 8. I think 10.5 would be your target. Looking good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave target. Oh, sure. Beautiful rising channel with a flag. Next target, 7 3/4. PACB, multiple tops here. It's right there. It's sitting there flagging. If we break, 15 and 18 are targets. PCVX, breakaway gap, long consolidation. I believe this is a top 20 pick, and then it's just exploded in the last couple of weeks. Look at this move from 34 to 51, closing 51.40. This could be 58 to 60 short term. PLX, beautiful rising pattern for this low price puppy from 1 to 365. My target's 4.5. PPSI breaks out of the base and goes vertical. Literally went from 2.5 to 7. Now the pullback wedge and then the pop on Friday tells me this isn't done yet. And if it takes that out, we could see 7 or 8. PTGX exploded in December from 7 and change to reach in May 25 and change. It more than tripled. Pullback, tested the 50 and bounced, flagged, and broke out again. My target is 30 now. RCEL, beautiful base breakout flag, breakaway gap, coil, pop to resistance and target, pull back to the 50, hold it, and now running again. I think it makes it to 22. Rocket exploded Friday, broke out of a declining topside, but at resistance. Targets are 22 3/4, 25 and 28. Riot, another crypto related, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave target, 1920. Ryovan, one of my top picks of the year, has been in consolidation for a while, but it looks like a little left inverse head and shoulders or cup and handle is forming. It moved through 9, and you may see 10, 11. RRGB with a 1, 2, 3, 4 right at support. Needs to hold it. Stop is under 12.25. Targets 16 and 19. SANA, long declining channel broken with explosive move and now flag. Propped and tried to break out Friday, didn't quite get there. But target 6.25 and 7.5. Copper stock, SCCO, long-term channel, long-term pattern with big resistance. If this gets over 83, it could be a $100 stock. CPH, choppy but stair-stepping its way higher, right at resistance. The highest close on this one since way back in early 2020, a 3-year high. My target now is 13.5. SCYX, pop, pullback, falling wedge, held the moving averages as they crossed over, then exploded. Now the falling wedge again. I need this to hold, ideally 2 3/4, and break out above 330 with volume. Does that, 4 and 5 are targets. SERA, breakaway gap, strong run, now pullback, orderly flag. Notice how it held support right there. It's trying to come up again. If it does, 5 and 6.5 maybe targets. Shopify exploded Thursday, followed through Friday. It's at my target of 62. The next target is 70. SONO, Sonos, coming out of a long declining channel. Breakout, pullback retest, held the trend line, moved up, right at resistance here. We get to this level, 24 is my target. STME, look at this long base. Broke out Friday. First target, 15. Second target, 19. TBIO, stair stepping its way up with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave target, 440, 50. Thread up, a tech trader swing with a pop wedge and a pop falling wedge. Really needs to hold right around the 240 area, 235. Target though is 385 and 5. TERN, a top 20 pick for the year and a beautiful rising channel. Looks like it's going to extend to 18. Technoglass, also a tech trader swing, has gone from the high 20s to the mid 40s and now looks like 54.5 is your next target zone. TGTX breaks out of the base, pops with volume, put a swing on it, it kept going, coiled, pop, retest, breakout, and a sharp run up last week. I've got 42, 43 as a target now. Tenea, with breaking out of the base and forming a wedge, exploded on Friday. I'm not sure how far they take this, but I would think $10 target might be doable. 9.5, 10. Uber, coming out of the falling wedge, exploded, forming a little flag here. 40 and 45 are targets. Viking, beautiful breakaway gap and a pop and a coil. We put a swing on it right about the 7-8 zone. It's tripled. It looks higher. 25 and 28 are targets. BRNA, a top 20 pick for the year. You can see how it spiked in December, pulled back like many biotechs, maybe coming on again. And next wave could take this substantially higher. If it takes out 28, you're looking at 33 and 40. BYNE coming out of a base, strong run. It's taken it from 2.5 to 8.25 vertically, basically. I have resistance and target at 965. Weight Watchers popped. We put a swing, went right to the target, pulled back, and now it's going again. Friday was up 22%. Now I'm looking for 10 3/4, 11, and 12 3/4, 13. XPO Logistics breaking out of key resistance. My next target 54. YMAB popped with a breakaway gap, ran up and formed a coil. It tried to pop Friday. Watch this one over 717. Then you can see 8 or 9 on it quickly. And that is it for the longs. I got some shorts to talk about. We can finish up today. These are the few shorts I have left. You can see CF looking ugly. A lot of stocks in this group, agricultural inputs, just not doing well. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave may be underway, which could take it to new 60, 62. CLFD is definitely crushed. When we first noticed it breaking down here and then forming a bear coil at 62, subsequently dropping to 28.9. That's a cover. DDS 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave could take you down around 250, maybe even 225, depending on the market. But your stopping point would have to be over 323. In the oil sector, my oil shorts on Dyno have worked well. This has dropped from 49 down to 37.8, and this at support, so it could be covered. There's your parallel channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. Fluor broke his bear flag, got slam dunked, and then tried to rally back. Still, it looks uglier, targeting 23, 24. KEYS hammered bear wedge, bear coil. Since we put a swing on this one short, 160 to 140. NFE breakdown, rising bear wedge, and now a bear flag. If it fails, the rollover could take it to 22.3. Keep a tight stop on that one. PBH, tough call, but it refuses to go over 64. Friday was an ugly day for it. If it takes out 58, you're likely to see 55 or even 52. Plexus came down hard and bounced. We put a swing short on it, 99, 100. It subsequently dropped to 83.4. My target remains 77. Tech target, look at this thing. Breaks down, forms a rising bear flag. Another one there. It continues to look lower. My target, 30. Another oil short is dropped from where we first shorted it in the 56 range down to 40, 39 actually, out here. There's some support in this range. If oil does rally, it could take off, but you may want to consider covering shorts on oil for now. Same with APA. Look at that rollover. Barely bouncing. Key support, 30, 31. Capri, put a tech traded swing short on it. When it formed that rising bear wedge right to resistance, it's rolled over from 47 to 37. It could be even worse if it doesn't hold here. A lot worse. DBN, Devon, another oil bear, breakdown, bear flag, breakdown, rising wedge. Breaks down. Near support and bounce on Friday. We'll see what that does. Overstock's been negative for a year and continues to look lower. I would bet mid-teens. And finally, BICR, another bear flag is formed. It doesn't respond to rallies. The stock looks lower to me, perhaps 33, 35. That's it for tonight, and that's it for today, I should say, at the weekend webinar. Please review this. This is important stuff for next week. Get you prepared for a good trading week. For now, this is HB out. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Hi. I was almost finished with, I was almost finished. Okay, well, I was almost finished with my recording, so I couldn't talk. Okay, I'm done, basically done. All right, bye.